Hello, and welcome to the Investor Guys Podcast, the ultimate podcast for serious real estate investors in the know. Join your host, Bill Barnett and Kevin Mills, as they share their expert insights, strategies, and tips to help you succeed in the world of real estate investing. Get ready to level up your investment game with the Investor Guys Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Bill Barnett and Kevin Mills.
Ready?
We are back with another episode of the Investor Guys Podcast. I'm Kevin Mills. That cheering section over there is Bill Barnett.
Hello,
Bill,
everybody.
How you doing today?
I am doing incredibly well. Had a wonderful weekend. And hey, we are 24 hours away from ballot day. And hopefully in another week, we can have this thing put behind us. And we don't have to listen to any more of this harangue that goes on. No more commercials. I can't, every time I look at Biden, everything he says is a lie. And they just don't call it on it. It just drives me crazy. So I'm just like, it'll be great getting off the airwaves. We won't have any more campaigning. Let's just get this behind us and get moving forward. And one more thing in 2020 that we could check off the list.
Yeah, at very least, it'll be nice to have a direction. We'll know what direction that we're going to go in. And we'll have that first step taken anyway.
Yep.
Who knows what's going to happen either way, depending upon who votes or who wins. But yeah, some clarity would be nice.
Hopefully, everybody's already voted. I know you have. I have. I voted the second day of early voting, and it's just I don't know why anybody would wait till. And I know millions of people more than aren't. I can't imagine why anybody would wait till election day to go vote and stand in the line and all that kind of stuff when you can go. But
did you have a line? Did you have to stand in?
Yeah, it took me 34 minutes from the time I parked my car till I got back in my car.
I was in line for about 45 minutes before I was able to actually vote. And I'm glad it wasn't longer. 45 minutes was just right. Longer than that, it probably would have been a bit of a pain. I did see when I got there just before lunchtime. And I saw the line get a lot longer behind me. And as I was walking out, I saw people in line who had actually ordered like DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff like that. I guess they were planning on that being their
brought to you by Fuzzy Tacos.
Their lunch break. So anyway, that's the political segment of our show. Thank you for joining us.
Real estate. Sorry about that.
No worries. One of the things that Bill and I had talked about just before we jumped on this show was talking about to you guys how to get started. Now, we've done shows before about how you can start with no money down and how you can get private investors and any number of other things that can keep you invested in real estate with other people's money or with no money of your own. So we wanted to talk about a couple strategies other than the obvious. I mean, it's pretty obvious we can invest other people's money and we can get started. But what if you don't want to go that route? What if you want to earn your own money? And to be able to say I self-funded this is huge. To be able to say that I didn't have to go to so-and-so or I didn't have to go to so-and-so, for a lot of people, that's important, okay? For myself and for Bill, money's money, and it doesn't matter where it comes from, because as soon as we get that check and we pay the person who gave us the money, that money's ours. So we can self-fund something else. Doesn't matter if it gets you to the goal line quicker, but there are strategies you can use that don't involve you asking other people for money. And one of the things I wanted to start this show off with, and we can go in different directions from here, is wholesaling properties. And wholesaling properties gets you doing the exact same thing you need to be doing for your investing anyway. So once you figure out what you want to do for your investment strategy, you need to go out and you need to start looking at properties. You need to start talking to people. You need to start negotiating deals. Once you do that, with or without money, you're taking those first steps. Now, if you don't have the money and you negotiate a great deal, Bill, I've got a great deal, but I don't have the cash to do it. Do you know anybody that's interested? Yeah, that is wholesaling property. That's simple. It really is.
The key in wholesaling is understanding the numbers on the front end. And you got to do that in your business period on every single property that you deal with. So it's a great strategy. It's a great skill set that you need. And that once you develop the ability to understand the numbers, then wholesaling becomes an easier deal. And look, you won't wholesale long, because after you've wholesaled a couple of deals, you're going to start going, wait a minute, I made 5, 10, whatever it happened to be, and they made 30. And I could have just as easily have done that. But having that skill set of finding the property, understanding the numbers, you got to understand them, whether you ever do a flip or not, whether you ever do a rental or not. If the only thing you ever do is wholesale, you have to understand all the numbers. It's one of the things that's so frustrating sometimes for Kevin and I when we're dealing with wholesalers, and you quickly call out, these are the good guys, these are the ones that are not good guys, because if they don't understand the numbers, they miscalculate the after repaired value. They miscalculate. This is what they miss the most, is the repair value, or the cost of the repairs. I'll get wholesalers that'll send me deals, and it'll be a trashed out house. It'll be the kind of house I want to look at, and they'll say the rehab budget on this is $8,000. And I'm like, no, it's closer to 80 than it would be 8, but okay.
And that's one of the things you have to look out for when you're buying wholesale properties, and make sure that you don't be that person when you're wholesaling properties out. A lot of people, they just do it because they're super optimistic. They think that, this, and it could just be that they don't know how to estimate or repair. Other people literally do it because they know that they're deceiving somebody, and they know that the way they're putting their numbers together is they're trying to package it up to make it look good. They're not real numbers. They're trying to package it up so that somebody looks at the numbers and says, that looks like a good deal, I'm going to go ahead and buy it up. And then when they actually have that property, they realize that those numbers aren't actual numbers. So do your legwork on every single one of those properties. You have to do that yourself. If you're going to be an investor and you're going to be purchasing these properties, do the numbers. Is this a property that you would do yourself if you had the funding for? Is this something that you would be excited about if you had the money in your pocket? And remember that if you start being viewed as unethical, as you start being viewed as one of those creepy, slimy people, no one's going to do business with you at all. You might as well just go ahead and check this off of your resume and go on and find something else, sell used cars or whatever it is. But you don't want to be that person.
No. Now, we've come on break here. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. And when we come back, we're going to continue this wholesaling segment. And we're going to talk about the after repaired value, how you get there, what the ARV means, and how you get it and get a good one. Hang around. We'll be back with more Investor Guys podcast.
Thank you for watching the Investor Guys podcast.
The Investor Guys podcast will be back shortly.
Absolution X, limited editions, lifestyle apparel like none other. Get yours today at absolutionx.com.
Live the resort lifestyle every day with Cayman K. The perfect pieces for every wardrobe. Shop the entire Cayman K collection and find your favorites. Find all our styles at caymank.com.
Awaken your potential and harness the strengths of your inner self. Online courses that you complete at your own pace. Set and achieve all of your goals. Packed with an ever-growing catalog of information, resources, learning programs, weekly recorded coaching sessions, podcast, posts and more to keep you on track for your best life. Because the only person who can guarantee your success is you. www.reallykevin.com.
And we are back for section 2 of our, I guess we can say, getting started with little or no money. We've kind of made it about wholesaling the whole first section. One of the things that I wanted to also point out is once you get rolling, once you have that snowball building for yourself, you're going to start attracting properties that you're just not going to be able to do. There are so many properties that Bill and I and other investors have to pass on just because we don't have the time or we don't have the funds or whatever it is. They're great deals and they will make somebody a great deal. Instead of leaving it by the roadside, though, if we wholesale that property out ourselves, we've got an extra income that we wouldn't have had we not put that up on our website to wholesale it out. So keep in mind as you start building your real estate investing machine, if you're going to start off with a wholesale strategy, that's fine. Go ahead and make that at least a sideline once you start purchasing the properties yourself and doing these properties yourself, because you can continue to make a great income. There are people who make millions of dollars a year just wholesaling properties and doing nothing else. If you could do that on the side, on top of your own investing, you're golden.
Yeah, I look at wholesaling as a pressure release valve. So if you think about a balloon and you get a balloon, you start blowing it up and it gets bigger, bigger, bigger. Well, it gets to a point where if I keep blowing, it's going to pop. Well, our real estate business can be the same way. We get in, we get started, we start buying, and then we keep the deal machine on. This is a mistake a lot of people make, especially new investors, is they get some momentum going and then they cut off the deal flow. They stop making offers because, well, I got 2 deals I'm doing. I got 4 deals I'm doing. I can't handle anymore. You keep the deal flow going because it takes a long time to reprime that pump, as Zig would say, reprime that pump and get the deal flow going again. So you want to keep the deal flow going, and how you do that is by wholesaling the properties. Now, whether you're wholesaling, flipping, you're buying for rental income, you're doing Section 8, you're developing, you're doing raw land, it doesn't matter what you are doing in the single family side of the business. You have to understand the after repaired value. And so many people get started, they get a concept of how to do the numbers, but they apply all of these percentages. How much profit should I make? What's closing costs going to be? Got to include my commission from a real estate agent. Here's what I think the rehab's going to cost. And they run all these numbers, but they run it against the number that the seller is asking for the property and not against the after repaired value. When you and I are looking at a wholesale deal, we want to look at this property, forget the condition it's in at the moment. We want to look at this house and go, if this house was in it was perfect. It was absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Couldn't find anything wrong with it anywhere. What would it sell for? That's your after repaired value. The absolute top end of the market for that particular property. Now you start to apply your percentages. Okay, what's the other investor going to want to make as profit? What's it going to cost me for my commission when we sell this property? Not me, but when the other investor sells it. What's it going to cost to rehab this property? When I start doing that now I get down to a number that I can compare. I've got all of my cost in. What is this property worth? What's the actual value of the property? And that value needs to be significantly less. And significantly is a very interpretive word as to how much that means dollar-wise for you. But that number needs to be significantly less than what the seller is asking for the property. And if that's the case, you have enough spread in there for you to be able to make a profit on the wholesale side and still get it to the other investor with meat on the bone or at the appropriate price for them to be able to say yes to it.
Yeah. And the tail end of the section, I want to flip the coin a little bit, and Bill knows this as well. There are investors out there, their entire strategy is just buying wholesale properties. They don't want to go out and do the numbers. They don't want to go out and do the legwork. They would rather have somebody give them a catalog of properties that they can choose from, and they go out and they do that. They don't mind paying that additional fee for the wholesaler to have found the property. So there are investors, their entire strategy is based on buying wholesale properties. So keep that in mind as you start building your network. In section 3, I want to talk about building your network for wholesaling properties. But keep that in mind that everybody you talk to is a potential buyer. But even real estate investors, a lot of people think that when they're wholesaling properties, they need to find somebody who's just starting out investing or who hasn't started investing. Your best or my best clients for wholesale properties are people who understand exactly what is going on. So I don't have to explain to them what this percentage is because that's mine, and what this percentage is because that's what it's going to cost you to hold the money, and this percentage because that's what it's going to cost for your contractor. So dealing with people who understand that market and understand what they're getting is great, because they look at the numbers, they know they can trust you on the numbers, and they go over it and they say, looks like a good deal, let me have it. The other thing that I do is I get feedback from everybody who gets the properties that I sent out. If there's something that comes up that I didn't account for, I want to know so I can keep an eye out for it next time. If something happens with the property and it turns out not to be the great deal that I said it was going to be because I screwed up on the numbers, if that's the case, then I will make it up to that client on their next property. And that is a win-win for me and a win-win for them, because they get another property and they're going to get it minus the fees. I'll steer a really nice candy property to them. And that keeps them happy and coming back to me because they know that I'm going to take care of them and that I'm ethical. Bill, last thoughts before we close out this segment?
You know what? When we come back, I want to tell you why wholesaling is important for Kevin and I. And we'll talk about that right as we come back from the break with more Investor Guys podcast.
ReallyKevin.com. Weekly recorded coaching sessions. Learn, grow, find resources, opportunities, and more. You'll find it all at ReallyKevin.com.
You are watching the Investor Guys podcast.
Live the resort lifestyle every day with Cayman K. The perfect pieces for every wardrobe. Shop the entire Cayman K collection and find your favorites. Find all our styles at CaymanK.com.
Absolution X. Lifestyle apparel like no other. Limited editions. Unique, exclusive designs. Seek your absolution. Get yours. Only at absolutionx.com.
And we are back for our last segment of a show that's really going kind of quick. We were talking about wholesaling properties, and we were actually thinking we were going to get in a whole lot of other strategies, but we'll just make it all about wholesaling properties. It's definitely something that deserves a lot of discussion, and it's something we could do a whole entire 3-day course on. But you were going to tell us why people like us like and even depend upon wholesaling properties.
So when you think about a lot of people, when they look at wholesalers, as Kev mentioned earlier, they look at, well, really only new people are wanting to buy this. And I think that's a mistake. What you really should be looking at are the established investors. The bigger, the better, because we don't have as much time to go out and just look at properties as we'd like to have, because we have so much going on in our business. So when somebody comes and they present us with a good wholesale deal, I am more than happy to pay them a profit for them because they have done my legwork. And so I ask my wholesalers, when you send me property, and I get property sent to me literally every day, I ask my wholesalers, look, I want the barest of numbers from you. I want what the address is and what you have to have out of the property. I'll handle everything else, because I don't trust anybody else to do my numbers. I don't trust my checkbook with anybody but me. So I want to go out. I can pull the comps myself, or you can have a real estate agent pull the comps for you so that you can establish that after repaired value. And now I can decide, all right, I can pull a number out, and depending on what part of town it is, and this just comes from years of doing it and familiarity with the areas, I can look at the outside of a property and maybe look at some interior pictures and get a quasi-accurate feel as to what the rehab budget might be. Enough so that if I know what the after repaired value is, I can take a wild stab at it and see, oh, gee, there could be plenty of room here to make this deal work. And if that's the case, then I want to go physically have my eyes on the property, boots on the ground kind of strategy, and go look at the property firsthand and see, did I miss anything? What do I think a refined number is on that rehab budget? But that's really all I want to get from my wholesalers. I want the address and what they have to have out of the property, because I don't want to be influenced one way or the other by what they think the RV is, immaterial to me. What they think the rehab budget is, immaterial to me. I want to look at, hey, this is what I got to give them for the property, what they've got to get out of it. And this is the address. I don't need anything else. I can put that together from there and decide very quickly whether this is a deal I want to do or not. When you get started, you're going to have the ability to put that after repaired value number together. You're going to have help from your real estate agent. If you do not have access to the MLS, whether it is one of those programs, whether you're an agent or there's some investment programs out there, some monthly fee subscription things that you can get MLS access to sales only and or listings and sales. And what that does is it gives you the ability to get your own after repaired value. That's a skill that you must understand inside out and develop. And once you have that skill, and it's not a hard skill to learn, once you have it, you have the bedrock, the foundation of being able to put offers together.
Yeah. And your challenge really is not going to be the numbers, because once you understand the numbers, it's going to be the same all the time. Numbers don't change. The thing that's universal in our universe is numbers. Your challenge really is going to be marketing and setting up your network. So if you like getting out and speaking to people, this is probably a really good niche for you to get into. And I explain to students when they take my classes, network with each other, because some of you are going to decide it's easier to go out and take one of these wholesale properties and to go out and do all this work yourself. And others are going to say, hey, I don't mind going out and doing this work. I don't mind coming up with these properties, and I don't mind sharing them for a fee. So network with literally everybody, especially anybody that's going to be in the industry, but literally everybody. Have business cards that you hand out when you go to wherever it is you go, yacht club, church.
I was going to say, where's the number one place to go if you want to wholesale a property? The number
real estate
one
club.
place.
Real estate club. Yeah, real estate club. But don't depend just upon the real estate club. Take those business cards, give them to everybody that you meet. If you go to Little League, make sure that everybody at Little League knows that you wholesale properties. Wherever it is that you are, make sure that people say, oh, that's so-and-so, he's a property wholesaler. He's a real estate investor and he wholesales properties. And make that your persona. Be that person, because that is going to be what makes you successful. You can find great properties, you can find great deals, but if you don't have buyers for those deals, they're wasted. You wasted your time. Those deals are wasted. Somebody else is going to get them when your option expires on those properties.
Absolutely. And look, once you understand those numbers, all you got to do is get under contract. What's that going to cost you? $1,000 or less. So once you have it under contract, you have control of that property for a specified period of time. That gives you the ability to start reaching out to Kev, me, anybody else that's in your circle and say, hey, got a deal, here it is, bam.
Yeah. And we're going to put together a program on this. In fact, we were talking about this a few weeks ago already. Not the reason why we did this topic, but while we're talking about it, it reminds me. We're going to put together a program on wholesaling properties, and we will add some resources to that, like a website and different information like that. So keep an eye out for that as we get that done at the investorguyspodcast.com, as well as past shows that we've done also on investorguyspodcast.com. Additional resources and other classes and events that we have coming up, you can also find them there. If you have any questions, send us an email. You can get Bill at investorguyspodcast.com or Kevin at investorguyspodcast.com, or just a general question, or to sign up for any of the courses that we have, you can go to contact at investorguyspodcast.com. And Bill, final thoughts before we wrap up? Are you there?
Hey, got to be down in Orlando in the first week of December, going to a buyer's event. If you have Central Florida is not on your investing map, it should be. And go hop over to the investorguyspodcast.com. I know Kev sent out a bunch of emails last week. I sent out 40,000 this morning to our in-house list. If you aren't on those lists, you haven't gotten an email from us, jump over to investorguyspodcast.com. You'll see the upcoming Central Florida buyers event. That's Orlando, by the way.
Right.
Central Florida's buyers event, first week in December. Florida's a great place to be in December. And Orlando, Central Florida is a great market to be investing in. So jump
And
over there.
if you'd like to be on our email,
see you
just send us
soon
an
if we
email.
don't see you at the event.
Send us an email if you'd like to be on our list. We'll see you for our next episode of the Investor Guys podcast. Bill, I'll see you later. Have a good day. All of you guys, happy investing.
Thank you for tuning in to the Investor Guys podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and stay updated on the latest trends and insights in the world of real estate investing. Also, don't forget to check us out and see all of our episodes at theinvestorguyspodcast.com. Email us, contact@investorguyspodcast.com. Remember, the key to financial success lies in staying informed and taking action. Stay tuned for our next episode, and until then, happy investing.